Hey athletes, today I'm going to talk to you about what I refer to as the Stair Stepper Method or blocked periodization. So this is for you guys that are trying to be a do-it-yourselfer, or if you're trying to learn a little bit more about the workouts that I provide you at getcomplete.net, the workouts I provide you, and like all the behind the scenes of how I make those decisions for what you're doing. So let's talk the Stair Stepper Method. Now, this is me going what I would say is 4 weeks on with 1 week deload. So remember, with our deloads, our whole goal is to allow ourselves to recover, right? So we break our body down for 4 weeks. And as the weeks go on, more and more stimulus is building up in your body, and we have to give your body time to recover. And by giving yourself that extra week, we can actually give your body time to adapt, which is ultimately what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to gain muscle, even lose body fat, your body gets the stimulus. It has to go through a recovery process, and you have to give it enough time to change, to grow, to adapt, okay? So that deload week is very important. If you're in a class type setting, do your 4 weeks. Maybe you're doing 3, 4, 5 classes a week. Maybe on your deload week, you only do 2 or 3 classes, okay? Just gives your body extra time. It gives your joints some time to recover. It's a very important thing, okay? I do it every 4 weeks. I'm recommending to you to do it every 5. And here, the Stair Stepper Method. So let's say it's Monday morning or evening if that's when you train. Let's say you're doing some type of an upper body day. So let's say one of your exercises is the bench press, okay? People like the bench press, so we'll talk about it. Now, remember, this is not if you are a really high athletic power lifter, weightlifter, anything like that. This is for you general athletes, because this Stair Stepper Method might not work for you if you're squatting 800 pounds, okay? You might need a different approach, but for most people, they're not doing that. So here's what we recommend. So let's say you're doing the bench press. Now, we have to make choices. All right, we know we want to grow the muscle. Then we eventually want to make that muscle stronger. And then we want that bigger, stronger muscle to be able to do more work. Now, Josh, what do you mean? What's the difference between being stronger and being able to do more work? It's really taking that now stronger muscle and pushing it to its limits, okay? Not necessarily to its ultimate limit, a 1 rep max that we like to refer to it as, but something where it's going beyond where you've ever gone before. So let's take a step away from the bench, because we need to decide where are we in our training. So we have our 3 types, right? So let's kind of do this. We have our hypertrophy, which is when we're trying to gain our size, okay? Then we have our strength phase. And then we have what I like to call as our peaking phase. Okay, now, hypertrophy, yes, it means to gain size, to grow the muscle. But for a lot of you, it could also mean to lose weight. Hypertrophy, we are typically doing more repetitions, more volume, which again, that can help stimulate muscle growth, or depending upon your nutrition, it can help stimulate weight loss, okay? So this, for a lot of people, this is their bread and butter of their program. Unless, of course, your whole sport is all about that 1 rep max, then your peaking is going to be the most important. But again, for most of you, your hypertrophy, okay? The time that you're doing the most work. So these are when we're doing 6 to 12 or 15, depending upon your school of thought, repetitions. And then I like to say anywhere from 3 to 6 or 8 sets, okay? I'm sure people have heard of 10 sets of 10 or 8 sets of 8, and that's really getting up there, especially if you're doing multiple exercises in a workout. If in a week all you're doing is 8 sets of 8 squats and no more leg exercise, fine. But for the most part, that's not what we want to do. We're thinking like 3 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6, 5 sets of 6, 6 sets of 3 or 4 or 5. Even though that's not in our rep scheme, that's still a lot of repetitions. Then in our strength phase, we're talking anywhere from 1 to about 5 reps. And here again, we're going to do anywhere from 3 to about 8 sets, depending upon what we're trying to do. And then for our peak, I usually tell people 3 repetitions can be a good peak. And then you might do anywhere from 3 to 6 sets. Okay, because again, we're not necessarily trying to find your 1 rep max, and if you are, you'll only end up doing 1 set, right? 1 set of 1 at the most weight you possibly can. But again, for your guys' goal, that's probably not what you are looking to do. So let's say you're in a hypertrophy phase. Your goal is to do more repetitions, more work. Maybe you're trying to gain muscle or lose body fat. And remember, the only difference is your nutrition. If you're eating a massive amount of calories, or you're just not even concerned with your diet, you're just training, trying to outwork a bad diet, you know what? You're eating so many calories, you're just going to start to bloat. And ladies, that's how you get bulky, okay? Is if you don't care at all about your nutrition, you're way overeating, and you're doing a ton of repetitions, okay? So if that's your goal, great. Eat a bunch of food, you'll hypertrophy, you'll get bigger. But again, is there a goal of you just want to be huge for no reason, or do you just want to gain muscle? So everybody should really be concerned with their diet as well. But anyway, let's talk the Stair Stepper method for, let's say, a bench press. So if we're going to go 4 weeks at a time with a week off, here's what your first 4 weeks might look like. You're going to say, hey, you know what? This set or this training block, I'm going to do 4 sets of 6 repetitions. Okay, great. Now, that's 24 total repetitions. Great. What we need to decide is, what can we do 24 repetitions at pretty easily? And I don't mean like, oh my gosh, I did the empty bar. No, I'm saying, let's say your best set of 6 on the bench, if you know, is 150 pounds, whatever. You don't want to do 150 pounds for 4 sets because you can't. You can only do it for 1 set. So with this Stair Stepper method, what we're thinking is, down the road, how do we increase the amount of total work we can possibly do? And I'll show you. So let's say you start at, 115 pounds for your 4 sets of 6. It's pretty easy. You get it done, no big deal. If you're doing, let's say, another chest day on Thursday, you would do something similar as well. But let's say you get your 115 and you write in your notebook, okay, because this should all be in your notebook, that was a pretty easy workout, okay? Great. Now next week, my goal, because I'm not benching 300, 400, or 500 pounds, you don't necessarily need to jump a bunch of weight. Plus, remember, for every pound you add to the bench, that's 24 more pounds of work, okay? So we really don't have to be jumping 20 pounds a week, because if you do that, it's really hard to continue to jump 20 pounds a week and survive for 4 weeks. So let's just say 5, right? We're talking over 100 pounds of extra work. So now we're going to be at 120. And again, these weights may mean nothing for you. It's just to try to give you a visual. All right, you go through it. That was pretty easy. The 3rd week, you do it. Great. Now on your 4th week, you're really happy all the way through. Wonderful. Okay, this is best case scenario. All the weeks, it didn't feel that crazy. You didn't feel too tired. Wonderful. Week 5, remember with our deload principle, we want to de-escalate how much volume we're doing. So if we're doing 24 total reps, we might only want to do 12. Okay, so maybe you do, on week 5, you do 4 sets of 3. Now, you just got done doing sets of 6 at 130 pounds. We want to deload a little bit of that intensity, maybe 10 or so percent. So let's just say we knock off 10 pounds, 15 pounds, and it brings us back to where we started at 115. Okay, that's week 5. Now, if we're going to spend 2 blocks in our hypertrophy, because again, for most of you, your goal is to either get bigger muscle or to lose body fat. Spending 2 blocks or 10 weeks in a hypertrophy phase might be perfect for you. So, second phase. So if this is phase 1, here's phase 2. Now, we saw easy, well, maybe not easy, but good, all the way up. Okay, so 115 pounds for 4 sets of 6 wasn't really that challenging. You know what? I'm pretty confident I can do 125, 130, 135, 140. I'm going to try it. So week 6 now, because week 5 we deloaded. Week 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I'm going to start at 125 for 4 sets of 6. Okay, that was still pretty good. Okay, I can do 130, so I know I should go at least to 130 next week. You know, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with 130. Okay, now let's go to 135 for 4 sets of 6. Okay, now it's starting to get a little tough. Maybe I didn't sleep enough and I write that down and it threw off my training. So maybe I didn't eat enough food. Maybe I just went through a breakup. Maybe my family pet died, whatever. And I'm still kind of thinking about that, but I was successful. Now you have to make the decision. Do I try more? Well, next week I don't really plan on going through another breakup. I really think I'm going to sleep more, eat more. I don't think my family dog's going to die a second time. So yeah, let's try 140. And you might come in this day and it's a beautiful day. You might do great. So don't let one day throw you off. And we've talked about this before. And then after your 140, again, now it's time for another deload. So instead of doing 4 sets of 6, maybe the 4 sets of 3 worked really well for you. And again, we want to drop about 15 pounds off. So we'll go back to 125. Now, let's say this were a little different. Let's say you started to hit that wall in the second phase on your second week. Okay, so at 130, your family pet didn't die. You feel like you got enough sleep, you ate enough. Okay, you know, I got through. Maybe next week will just be a better week. Well, it's not. God, it almost felt harder. Man, what's going on? I'm not drinking any more caffeine. I am sleeping. I'm eating all this stuff. What's going on? Here's what could be going on. Maybe all of your other exercises, all of your other days throughout the week, because each exercise, if we're doing this, you want to have this similar approach. So you might have bench press here, you might do incline something, you might do chest flies, push-ups. There might be 2 or 3 more exercises after this that you're considering. Plus, you have maybe a Tuesday workout or a Wednesday workout. Maybe you're doing legs, maybe you're doing back. Same concept. You would change your rep schemes and your sets because, again, in a total week or in a total training block, we can only do so much work. We want that work to be a little bit more than last time. But again, maybe you starting here, you tried to start 10 more pounds on all of your exercises, and that's just not working out for you. You're starting too high on all of them, okay? Then maybe we're not even successful. Maybe we can't get that last day and that 4 sets of 6, you just feel terrible, or you do attempt it and you're only getting sets of 3 or sets of 4. Yes, it's time to deload, but what could have caused that problem? What could have caused that problem is maybe, again, you're jumping 10 pounds on everything. You're trying to do too much work too soon, okay? So for some of you, if you run into that, here's what we do. We have to consider what's going on throughout the week. Now let's just say you decide you're going to take Thursdays off and Sundays off. You're training 5 days a week. Maybe you're doing chest, maybe you're doing legs, maybe you throw in some arms in there to give yourself a little bit of a break. Maybe you throw in your back here. And then here is what we need to make a decision on. If you're really crushing your chest, your legs, your back, Saturday might be a cardio day. But it might also be, what are you trying to emphasize? Your emphasis for the month or that block. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to focus primarily on my chest, okay? So maybe on Saturday you throw in some overhead pressing or some more bench or some push-ups or something that are going to affect your pushing muscles, right? Your chest muscles, your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, whatever. Okay, so let's say, again, you have your Stair Stepper Method and you started a little too high on maybe your chest or whatever. And as the weeks go on, you're like, wow, I'm not as spunky. Things are going crazy, which could be normal. But Again, if you try to jump all of your weights every day throughout the week, you're adding thousands of pounds of volume to your life. So when deciding where you should start your volume increase, you need to decide, what am I trying to emphasize? If you're trying to emphasize your chest, cool. Then on your chest days or your shoulder press days, those are the days that we start your second blocks training a little bit higher. Maybe your Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday workouts, you just started all over again. So maybe you started your legs. Let's say squats, you started at 100 pounds, 105, 110, 115. In the second block, you might start over at 105. You might start over at 100. Maybe you'll go to 105, but by no means would you be like, oh wow, it was really easy last month to do all of my squats. I'm gonna start at 110. I'm gonna start all of them 10 pounds heavier. No. We only need to start those a few pounds heavier, maybe 5, okay? Or we need to change the rep scheme. So let's say for your legs, you were doing 5 sets of 5 on your legs. Maybe now you're gonna just do 6 sets of 5. And if you had started it at 100 pounds, maybe here you started at 100 pounds. Then we're still going by our scientific principles that we're adding a little bit of volume as our training goes on, but doing one more set of 5 might not be as hard as trying to add more weight throughout the process, okay? But again, if you're in a chest type emphasis, you need to make sure that your chest days are crushing it, that those are the most important, okay? Now, let's say, and this is a beautiful thing, and this is why having a plan is so important. Let's say this chest day is sucky, okay? Your family pet died on Sunday, right? The day before? Wow, that's terrible, okay? You're gonna go into the gym and all you're thinking about is your dog and all the good memories and all the blah, 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 blah. Trying to do a bench press or something like that successfully and with enough intensity to actually promote change might not happen. That's where this day might come in handy, okay? You might not do it on Saturday because having Sunday in between might not be enough rest. Maybe you do it on Friday, whatever, okay? You'll figure that out because you do-it-yourselfers, that you're the type, right, to figure it out for yourself. So this second pushing day is exactly what you needed, okay? It's a few days later, and again, maybe you do it on Friday. So you had a terrible day on Monday, it's Friday, it's time to crush it. Now, if that happens, and you have to have a better chest day your second day, you gotta understand, when it comes time that your next chest day comes around, if you absolutely crush it, this day might be a little bit affected as well. So just be aware of that. Don't go into the gym saying to yourself, oh, today's gonna be tough because I had a great day Friday. You might have a great day Monday too. So don't talk yourself out of a good workout. But if the workout's done and you're looking back at your journal, because you're constantly supposed to be writing things down, how you felt, how every set felt, things like that. Was it a good day, bad day, what's going on? If you go back and you look back in your journal, son of a bitch, that's right. I had a bad week last week, okay? On Friday, I came in and crushed it. Today, yeah, I felt a little sluggish and slow because I had such a good day on Friday, okay? And that's fine. Now, another very positive thing, you had a bad day last week. That doesn't mean this week needs to suck too, okay? Last week's failures should be this week's motivation. You come back and you say to yourself, son of a bitch, last week sucked. I'm not gonna let that happen again. And you crush it, okay? So again, Stair Stepper Method, you add a few pounds, you drop back, you do this, let's say you do 2 blocks of hypertrophy, maybe you do 2 blocks of strength and 1 of peaking. And again, with strength, the weight goes up because the repetitions go down. And again, as the weight goes up, you can only do so many sets. I don't expect you to do 8 sets of 5. You might do 8 sets of 1. You might do 8 sets of 2. Don't do 8 sets of 5, okay? That's 40 repetitions. If you were just only doing 4 sets of 6, 24 reps, you're adding repetitions and somehow expecting yourself to have more weight? No, okay? But you gotta figure out how you're gonna make yourself a little bit stronger. Then, when we're talking peaking, this is where the rubber meets the road. So again, Josh, if our goal is to try to lose weight or gain muscle, why would we concern ourselves with these? Few reasons. One, You can't just keep gaining muscle, just like you can't, or losing weight, just like you can't keep losing weight. If your goal is to lose 100 pounds, you're not going to just only lose 100 pounds. You have to go through periods of stair stepping down, okay? You can't expect yourself to go from point A to point B with no problems in between, okay? There are times where plateauing is exactly what you want to do to help your body resensitize to your goal, whether that's gaining weight or losing. So, you need to resensitize to your weight loss, weight gain. So we put a little more intensity on the bar. That's going to keep promoting strength gain or weight loss, because you're not just going to do 3 sets of 1 if your goal is weight loss, okay? You should do something like 4 sets of 5, okay? Or 5 sets of 4. So you're still doing some intensity. If you just went from 24 reps, maybe you drop down to 16 reps, 4 sets of 4, or 20 reps, 4 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 4, whatever, okay? Then when it comes into peaking, this is a 1 month phase where your whole goal is to kind of forget that your goal is to either gain muscle or lose weight. And it's to make your muscle do more work for you. And here's why. So with our peak, let's say with our bench press, we finished our strength phase. Let's say we were doing 150 for 4 sets of 4. Great. So we might decide, hey, we want to see what our 3 rep max is at the end of this. We want to have the best 3 rep max we possibly can. Okay, so you started at 150, maybe you get to 55, 160, and 165 is where you finish. Then you deload, right? So 3 rep max, maybe you do just 3 sets of 3 at, I don't know, about 145 pounds. Okay, so yes, it is a little bit more volume, but again, intensity comes down, a little bit of volume up. This volume is nowhere near what you were doing in your hypertrophy. You're going to be fine. And if you feel really bad about it, do 3 sets of 2. Okay? I don't care. Now, the peaking phase is going to, first of all, make you feel really comfortable with heavier weights. So psychologically, it's going to make you stronger. But physically, again, it's making your muscle do more work for you. Okay? That way, so the last time with our stair stepper on hypertrophy, we finished right around 135 pounds for 4 sets of 6. So it looks something like this, right? We're doing 4 sets of 6. Now, so we've gone through 2 blocks of hypertrophy. We've gone through 2 blocks of strength. We've gone through a block of peaking. This weight, that finishing weight, that might only be good enough for your deload, right? You might be starting here. So you're starting well beyond where you were before. Right? So, yes, it took 3 extra months or 15 weeks of practice, but we're able to take where we thought was really heavy before, we're starting beyond that point, or at least close to it, okay? That way our stair stepper brings us to 155 pounds up here, right? That gives us a starting, when we're starting over, we're doing 20 more pounds for 24 reps, right? That's 480 extra pounds of work. Then again, we would deload and then build back up to be even higher, maybe at 165. So by the end of the second hypertrophy block, we're now 30 pounds more for the same reps as the end of our last second block of hypertrophy, okay? That's what the stair stepper method is all about. We grow the muscle, we make it stronger, we make it do more for us, then we come back beyond where we started before, and we just keep doing that. Okay, now, this is great if you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, and remember, the reason you gain weight or lose weight is not necessarily the weights you lift at the gym or how many repetitions you do at the gym. It boils down to what you're putting in your mouth. So if you don't want to get bulky, ladies, don't eat so dang much, or figure out how much you're burning throughout the day, through your training, through your life, and only eat enough to promote as much adaptation as you possibly can so that you can still gain a little bit of muscle, lose some body fat, but please don't eat without concern, because that's just going to make you bulky.